You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Chiro Thin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiro Moguls, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Evers Coaching Systems, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Bax Max, 5-Star Management, and the Goodman Factor. Let's hustle. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Jim Chester, and this is a Chiro Hustle live stream, and this is a sponsorship edition. And this is Dr. Noel Lloyd over there coming in from Seattle, Washington. And I am joining you today from Grand Junction, which is in the Grand Valley on the western slope of Colorado, which I like to say it's where no one lives. And I moved here, why? To hear the birds chirp. So I love it out here in Colorado, and I'm sure you're getting a little sunshine today too, right, Noel?
Yes, we do. Sunshine. We marked that on the calendar in Seattle.
So I know you have something that you want people to do today. You want people to join Successful Association of Facebook group, or what is it? A Successful Chiropractic?
Chiropractors with Associates. Now, this group isn't for everybody. You have to have a busy practice, a threshold of 160 plus patient visits a week. You have to be collecting $40,000 a month or more. You have to be netting $20,000 or more per month. And the reason that we put the threshold there is because that's a business that's worthy of replication. We've got absolutely wonderful chiropractors who want to add associates sooner than the business indicates or the practice would really benefit from. So, Successful Chiropractors with Associates, it's a Facebook group, and there are some qualifying questions that we have, but we'd love to have you join us. We have a ton of fun there. We post brand new content twice a day, and so we've got some cool chiropractors. It's a great mastermind group.
Yeah, you know, I've gotten to know you too from our other mastermind that we're in, the Chiropractic Experts Network. And I know you do a real good job of the fundamentals with people. And if you guys wanted to get more information from Noel, go over to my5star.com and do a test drive of his website. But something I found out in our pre-interview chat, you've been in the chiropractic game for 50 years now.
Almost. I'm 70 years old. I went to chiropractic college at age 18. Decided to be a chiropractor when I was 11, and that was 1960. So, I mean, that was a long time ago.
And then I told you, I was like, yeah, Noel, I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. And you were like, well, when were you born?
You were born a long time after I left town.
Yeah, man. But you went to Davenport, Iowa, went to Palmer College of Chiropractic, and now you're helping people transition from a position of their success to bringing someone else to come in and be successful with them.
Well, here's what I find is that the client that I help the most, the person that's the most grateful for my work, is the busy, successful chiropractor. And he or she wants three things. They want real help. Lots of people are working at maximum capacity, and so they need help. But they need help from somebody who's motivated. And they want freedom as well. They want freedom to enjoy their success. I can't tell you how many different times I've talked to people who they not only have a great practice, but they've come to the realization that that great practice has them. And one guy said that he was a galley slave in his own practice and that he couldn't take a week off. And he said, I've got a 14-year-old daughter who's going to go off to college in 4 years. And I haven't taken the time because I've been afraid to, in order to do the trips that build the memories that I've always wanted to do for my kids. So we want freedom and they want extra money. It just doesn't make any sense to have only one producer under one roof. So I help people bring associates into their practice in what I call the win-win model, because the old model breaks at about 85%. 85% of associateships end up on some type of sour note. So I do the other stuff, which is the good stuff.
Yeah, and that's the part that we have to pay attention to is there is the good, the bad, and the ugly of every profession. And
Right.
chiropractic has gotten the moniker for eating their young. And I know that it's probably not fair to say that as a generalization, but we need to fix that because I do know that we have a poor performance rate for chiropractic success after about the 5 year mark. But we could say that about any business, small business. But a chiropractor is a doctor, and doctors aren't supposed to damn fail.
Well, so here's one of the problems is that you can be a great chiropractor. You can love your patients, love chiropractic, love your community, treat your staff great. It does not mean that you know how to develop another chiropractor. And so many times I'll be working with somebody and helping them get their associate program in order. And they'll come to me and they say, Noel, so many things that I thought were so intuitive and thought that everybody would know. I mean, I just take a look at all the mistakes that I've made. And they look back over their shoulder and they'd say, maybe 2 or 3 different associateships could have turned out beautifully had they known what to do, but they just didn't know how to drive this thing.
So it's basically taken the alignment of the stars and 5-star management, and you've basically said this is what we do now,
Right.
and to build the fundamentals into somebody to understand business ethics and to understand how to onboard somebody properly, the proper communication style to follow, and the check marks to look for in order to move forward with this, right?
Well, the old time for money model, here's your paycheck, come and work for my goals, doesn't work anymore. And students are graduating 200, 250, sometimes $300,000 in debt. And what we need to do as clinic owners, and if we do this, we'll have wonderful associates who are motivated to work and will enjoy working with them. We need to teach our associates in a specific way in this new paradigm of win-win, how they can win as well. I had one doctor say, well, if I teach my associate how to win, he will leave me. And I said, no, you don't get it. If you teach your associate how to win, and they know that them winning is top priority for you, they will stay with you. Now, if they do go out on their own and go into their own practice, it's what they had intended anyway. But then you will have this person who you taught how to be successful also being what I call a bird dog or a referral source for your next associate. I have lots of people who end up working with associates for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And sometimes the associates leave, and many, many times they stay.
Well, no, I look at it this way. It's about building a community and building a family. And I know that when people do go to the workplace, they spend actually more time with the people that they're surrounded by in their work environment, typically more than they're spending time with their family and significant others. So it is very vital for people to choose wisely when it comes to bringing somebody into that zone where you're going to have that person around you constantly. So you want to make sure that it's a good decision.
Right, right. I was speaking to a young woman the other day who was a client as well. And she was developed as an associate in one of my clients' offices. And she had always wanted to go home to her home city, and her parents had bought her a duplex where she now practices in half of that duplex. It was always the plan. And I made sure that her doctor who employed her, who developed her, made sure that she had all the skills that are necessary. Now, when Natalie speaks about her former employer, Dr. Jamie Kramer, she almost gets tears in her eyes because of how Jamie has helped her. And so what Jamie did by developing her associate in a win-win environment is she built all this goodwill. She trained another chiropractor to be successful, and Natalie's very, very successful. But also Jamie has these great skills for developing her associates. So she's got 2 associates now, and she's just breaking every single record in the book. Best year ever, most time off, and highest profit. And by the way, her associates are doing well too. Jamie isn't doing well at the expense of her associates. Her associates are winning at the same rate that she is.
The win-win makes a lot of sense to me. And I know that everybody wants to win, and there is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm sure you've seen it all. So let me ask you a big question. After, almost 50 years of being in chiropractic, why are you still doing what you're doing?
I love what I do. I was speaking to a friend of mine. We were out to lunch with our wives, and he lives in the neighborhood, and he's an attorney. And he asked me the same question. He says, "Why do you still work? You don't need to." And I said, "Well, here's the deal. I've spent a lot of time getting to this particular level in the profession, and I love my clients. When I go to the best parties I go to are my Galaxy docs when we get together for our Galaxy dinners and our receptions. So I've got chiropractors who I love. I've got people helping people, having fun. They're making great money, who love my stuff. I mean, they love my material, and I get a chance to hang out with them. Now, I've got a good life. I help people. I have fun. I make great money. What's not to love? What would I do? Would I retire? Would I go play golf? Would I walk some stupid little dog in the neighborhood and pick up its poop? I mean, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And people sometimes ask me why I do what I do, Noel, and they will wonder why I've devoted so much of my time and attention and skill sets to telling the chiropractic story every day. And I said, well, I had to tell myself that I believed in one thing in this world, and it's hard for me to subordinate to something I can't trust and believe in. And as soon as I heard this message of chiropractic, I was like, you know what? This just makes sense. Why are more people into chiropractic? Why is it something that when I talk to somebody about it, they feel confused about the topic? It's been around for over 100 darn years. Like, right. What is this big idea that BJ Palmer once told people about at a lyceum? What is this big idea that when people think about if they get adjusted, they tell their friend or family member or their neighbor about it and they get adjusted? Why can't we get this idea that chiropractic can create? Actually, on DeMartini's interview yesterday, he's like, people that are under chiropractic care consistently make more money. So you actually save money by being under care because you make more.
So here's one of the things that older, more seasoned and successful chiropractors that they can do. They can apprentice, they can disciple, they can mentor younger chiropractors to come up to their success level, and they can be rewarded in that process, rewarded financially, rewarded with help in the office, rewarded with freedom. But a good number of my clients tell me that one of the most enjoyable things that they do is that they develop another person. Dr. Brian Morris was telling me the other day, he said, I have so much fun because I'm focused on my associates winning as well as me winning. And you know what? When someone senses that you really want them to be successful and you put them in a game where it's actually happening that they're being successful, the associate stays motivated. So many doctors have asked me, why isn't my associate motivated? And I've said, why should he be, or why should she be? And one guy said, well, I don't know. Unless you know, unless you understand, unless you can see it, and you cannot sell it. And so one of the things I teach people to do is how to prepare for, how to find the right people. By the way, the wrong person is out there. You can hire the wrong person. You don't want to hire the wrong person. But once you hire the right person, you want to make sure that you onboard that person to be successful, and you do that as soon as possible. When I hire a new associate, well, the ink is still wet on the contract. I mean, literally, we've just signed the contract and we've shaked hands, is that I dive right into their first success assignment because I want to see them hit bonus as quickly as they possibly can. And I want to make sure that that person is helped to me as soon as they can be, and that they're providing freedom for me as soon as they can be, and providing extra money for the clinic as soon as they can be.
So would you find that money and freedom are the two main motivators behind anybody working for success?
Well, I think that there are four currencies. One is time. I want freedom. One is money. One is happiness, and one is meaningfulness or contribution. So I want to be happy. I want to make a contribution. I want to have time, That's freedom, and I want to have money. So those are great motivators. By the way, if you are motivated by that clinic owner, your associate wants that as well. And you guys can work together in this great symbiosis where this is going to blow your mind, but I'm promising you this is true. Dr. Erin Bloom, one of my clients from Oregon, she wanted to have a baby. But if you take maternity leave, which would be 12, 13, 14 weeks, the practice is going to suffer greatly. So we taught her how to develop associates in the second baby Forrest, who came after baby Olivia. She was off 5.5 months, and her clinic still broke a record by over $100,000 because she developed 2 wonderful associates inside the win-win model, and she coached them to take care of the practice at least as well or at least as much as what she was able to. So she got all that great time off, and the associates made great money, and the patients got great care. There was no loser. It was win-win.
So I know you're talking about some success stories here. So if people want to jump into that Facebook group again, what is it called?
Successful Chiropractors with Associates.
So anybody that
you have to answer all the questions. Sometimes people come in and they just press the join button, but you have to answer the questions. It's not for everybody. It's for the busy chiropractor. If you're doing 20, 30, 40, 50 visits, it's not time to have an associate. It isn't.
Yeah, and I know that that's something that you can get clear with people on too, because fundamentals in growing a business, they do lead to success. And
Right.
if you follow consistency and you follow a proven model that works, it gives people the outcome that they're looking for. And I think that it's not it's not a secret. It's just systems and hard work. You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiro Moguls, Zingit Solutions, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Evers Coaching Systems, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Bax Max, 5-Star Management, and the Goodman Factor. Let's hustle.
Well, here's one of the things that I think is fun. I go to 5-Star Management, and we'll have 100, 120 people in our Chicago base, and almost that many in Seattle. And I see all these people, and I look out over the room. Of course, I know everybody's story because I'm the coach, one of the coaches. George is a coach as well. And I know what this guy's doing and what this girl is doing and what these people are doing. And they're on this journey together. And they're in these great mastermind workshops that we provide at the live trainings that we do. And so they're exchanging tips and things that they've learned. Excuse me. So it's really a lot of fun to go on the journey with somebody. One good associate developed the right way means between an additional $20,000 and additional $40,000 a month to the clinic, and the associate builds a great paycheck for themselves in that process and great money for the clinic director.
So oftentimes it's better to get on one of these systems with an associate because birds of a feather flock together. Right. And you get a chance to have somebody in your ranks to maybe get adjusted by as well and to reciprocate that type of service back. But you also get a chance to create sometimes a better system for success than somebody can go out and do it, building their own practice up.
Right. Well, our associates come to our live trainings as well. I mean, I don't teach anybody how to trick, how to hoodwink, how to take advantage of associates. I truly believe this with all my heart, that you have to have the associate's best interest in mind. Your associate needs to know that their success is just as important to you as it is to them. Because, and by the way, everybody understands if they're being taken advantage of. And everybody understands if you're really, really trying to help them. And when you are, and you're in that win-win relationship, and you're in a good business relationship that profits the clinic director and profits the associate, then everybody is working together with this really dynamic energy that's, it makes practice fun. I was working with a guy, and I asked him, I said, would you be the first prototype associate in your own practice? He said, what do you mean? I don't have an associate. But would you play the part? Would you do in your practice what you want your associate to do? Would you play by your own rules? He said, yeah, I can do that. And so he did that. And his wife, who was his office manager, she said, this is magic. Whatever's happened, whatever you've done with my husband, it's just great. He's running on time. He's more courteous. I mean, what he's trying to do is to template out this first associate position so that we can bring in an associate. Now everybody's excited about the practice again. The energy goes up in the practice, and when the associate comes in, the associate goes, wow, this is cool, because the clinic director's invested.
So the way I think about this, Noel, is you're, in my opinion, kind of like a personal trainer for business success. And you help these people figure out where their blind spots are. And then you help them have the resources to fix the blind spot and to build up their own self-esteem to where they can work better as a team member as well. I think that stuff is so important. Let's touch on another topic I think would be helpful to our viewers today. What if somebody is at 160? What should they be doing?
They should be getting new patients. So, by the way, you can take this to the bank. The doctor who knows how to get new patients will have a good practice. You can get most every other thing wrong. But if you know how to get new patients, you'll have a killer practice. You'll be very, very successful. The doctor that gets everything else right can set an atlas within a gnat's eyelash of perfect, and loves chiropractic and loves the community, has a cute office and all that other stuff, but doesn't know how to get new patients. They're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. So now, people who are, and by the way, I think there are some chiropractic groups out there that I don't agree with. Because I think it's my judgment. I won't mention any names, but they're just in it for the money. They know how to get new patients. I want the chiropractor that loves chiropractic, loves their community, loves their patients, and who has a good heart and wants to serve people to be just as good at getting new patients. In fact, I want you guys and girls to be better at getting new patients. So what you do for new patients for people, Jim, is so powerful and so wonderful. And I mean, it's literally that conversion experience where you go out and you get people and bring them in.
Yeah, just talking about these fundamentals, okay? Like I was an athlete for my whole life, so in order to be able to get the ball, you have to know how to run well, right? So you have to cross train for different aspects of stamina and endurance before you even touch the ball. And right. I think that so many times people think that getting a degree is they've already won, but that just gives you the opportunity to start running to where you can then get the ball. And I think that so many times people think that they finish a chiropractic legacy degree and they have this $3,000 debt and they are $300,000 debt, and they go out there and they think that they can run the ball when they don't know how to run. And I think that we have to teach these people how to run again and teach the basics and the fundamentals before they go out there and they get hoodwinked or misled or in some clever system to where they're not actually making money. They're spending the money that they're making just to keep their bills paid to where that they can get the influence to take care of them.
Right. So I think that every prospective associate should be looking for a clinic and a clinic owner that knows how to develop associates. And what I mean by develop them, and that is get you into your skill set, how to take care of patients, how to do your clinical work. When I talk about take care of patients, I'm talking about management, delivering somebody safely to a wellness program, all the way through relief, correction, and strengthening. You need to learn how to do that. You need to learn your clinical side. a doctor who's done 15,000 adjustments a year for a decade knows a lot more about adjusting than the brand new graduate. So the brand new graduate needs to learn from the clinic owner. And the clinic owner, you need to train and critique your associate as they come up. And then number 3, they need to learn how to do external marketing. And it doesn't have to be brutal, it doesn't have to be punishing, and it doesn't have to be difficult. You can get out there and you can have a ton of fun introducing people. Well, you have fun introducing people to chiropractic.
Well, it's a system. It's just like bringing an associate on. If you follow the proper strategies and you say the right things and do the right things and you're prepared, it is more fun. But it's just like, the night before and a big assignment's due and you didn't do your homework or you didn't do your work. And the next thing you have to do is go out there and actually perform. You don't want to because you didn't prepare yourself well enough to go out there and have success. And I think that same could be said for the law of attraction when growing a practice. If you don't do the right things to consistently be doing the next thing to get to the next level, then you are not going to be successful. No. And preparation is a big part of the success quotient.
So I've had doctors say to me, well, what if I don't like to do external marketing? Well, I mean, isn't what we have worthy of taking the message to the community? I mean, if you, I have a real strong chiropractic story myself. I fell on my head from the monkey bars when I was 5 years old, got sick, stayed sick for about a year. And a woman talked my mom into taking me to a chiropractor, and I went with my grandmother, and my dad was out in the car, and I got my first adjustment. I mean, literally changed my life. And it was because of that life change that I became a chiropractor, and life changes in other people. I mean, what we have is so powerful and so wonderful. I think it's a shame if we keep it inside the office, or if somebody will tell me, well, I'm not a salesman, Noel. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. The only question is, are you any good?
My favorite part, Noel, is the person that tells them they're not a salesman, their 5-year-old selling them that they want something when they're going through the line at the grocery store, and that kid wins.
That's right. Or husbands are selling wives, wives are selling husbands, parents are selling kids, kids are selling parents, coaches, teachers, and pastors are selling teams, classrooms, and congregations. And we've got a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous message. And what I want to teach, what I taught my associates who are very, very successful chiropractors to this day, is how to take that message into the community. Now, of course, it's our hope and our goal that we've got so many patients out there taking the message to the community that those referrals come back to the level and at the rate that all we have to do is stay in our office and take care of the patients that are referred to us. But then when you get an associate, he or she does not have that same patient base. Well, I'll just share all my new patients with them. Well, then what you do is you disadvantage the associate in that he or she has never been trained how to produce their own new patients. And if they're in their own practice someday, they'll need to know that.
I think it goes to biblical terms, give a man a fish, it feeds him for a day, teach them to fish, and they'll eat for the rest of their life. And right. That's the same way of going out and doing external events. If I go out and do it for you, I can build your practice up with 50 new ones on a weekend. But if you don't learn these principles and these systems, then you will not eat in abundance long term. So I think that that's the same way when you talk about practice success of meeting your community, is you have to go out there and harvest your community and tell them the truth of what chiropractic is, and say that 5-year-old that's sick and say, is this appointment just for you, or would you like to bring your whole family with you? And I think those are the things that we have to say to people in order to get them better. And I'm sure that you seen, it's either Gold or Sigafus who said this, but why would you come in and get adjusted and leave the rest of your family home to be sick? And I think when we think about chiropractic with that type of headspace, we can actually start to transcend the future culture by keeping these families healthy and keeping them off of these whatever's dripped onto their television messages every darn day, in between their cartoons and their kids shows and their popular television, whatever it is. There's chemistry involved. And I think when we realize that our message is so strong, and the best way to get to people is to find them. And I think that there's something very fundamental about going out and finding people and helping them.
Oh, I think there is. And one of the things, I teach a program for associates called the Associate Empowerment Project. I take 8 associates. We go through an 8-week program. It's my associate training. We do it live on a webinar, and I make assignments. And I tell them, it's my job to push you outside your comfort zone. It's my job to make sure that you know how to not only do a day 1 and a day 2, but also how to go out and put patients into that day 1 and into that day 2. And it was really interesting. We had one of those meetings today. We've got this young woman who's a little bit timid, and she's already just killing it. She's got tons of new patients. She's building a practice. Her clinic director couldn't be prouder. Now they're in a win-win relationship, and they're just having a ton of fun. But if you're afraid to do the marketing, you're always going to be hampered and always be held back by your fear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even for me, the hardest thing for me to do, Noel, is to take somebody's advice and actually implement it. So, no, it's the truth, and there's small things that we should all take advantage of, and that's our time. And if we start to segment it the right way, we will start journaling. We'll start reflecting. We will start following a system to be prepared to where once we get the opportunities, we succeed with them. And I think that that's something that we can all glean some advice from both of us. Is the person that's most prepared and does the things that they don't want to do will sometimes see the light that it is providing them the freedom and the finances that they're looking for.
Right. So I want to say one more time, and I don't know if we'll do this again before the end of the interview, but successful chiropractors with associates. If you have a practice and you know right now that you need help, maybe you're actually injured and you can't afford to take any time off, because if you don't work, you don't get paid. You would love to have some help in the practice. You'd like to have some freedom. You've never had 2 weeks off in your life. You can't imagine taking 5 months off like Aaron did. You couldn't imagine taking 3 months off like several of my doctors have been able to do for maternity leaves, come back to a record-breaking practice. And if you'd like some extra income, come hang out with successful chiropractors with associates at our Facebook group. And I think that you'll like the content. I think that it'll be encouraging and exciting for you.
Well, awesome, Noel. I think that does kind of wrap us up today. I'm glad that you gave the last interjection to let people know where to come and to hang out with successful chiropractors that want associates or have associates. And I appreciate you spending some time and supporting the Chiro Hustle message.
It's my pleasure. And by the way, if you need new patients and you need to learn how to get new patients, you should get in touch with this guy, Jim Chester, because he's a machine. And don't just send him out to get new patients for you, but go with him, witness firsthand what he does. And I think you'll be excited. And that's the way you would disciple or apprentice or mentor someone in their marketing stuff. I know Jim does great work.
Well, thank you so much, Noel. Anybody out there that is watching up to this point, if you found some value in this, #value. If you're watching us on replay, #replay. And I'm going to flash up Noel's website one more time before we end this out. And then I will close out by saying, like I always do, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling, and we'll see you on the next interview. Thank you so much, Noel.
Thank you, Jim. Talk to you later.
Yes. Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.